It's been a long day. Hello, everyone. I'm Paula McCoy, owner of Colors for Earth, and we are going to do a ceramic technique tonight. So say hello, tell me where you're from in the chat. That way I know if anybody is on here while I'm checking my screens. Now it looks like we're getting some people on. My phone is right. Yeah, mute yours, Jenny, on your end. Hey, Miss Paulette. Okay, so as people are getting on, we'll give it just a few minutes. Hello, Brenda. Yeah, Jenny, on your end, can you mute me? Because I'm hearing you, and I'm hearing. Okay, all right. So, hello, everyone. Hi, Pam. Hi, Sue. Terry. It is coming through the speaker, Jenny. You, I don't know what. Hey, yes. Hey, Ben. Hey, Sandy. Okay, so we've got some people on tonight. We're going to do a ceramic technique, and I've had a headache for a few days, and I'm not feeling too well. So I'm going to do this technique on a smaller project. Hopefully, I'll be able to get through it. Smile and paint, right? Okay. How are you guys this evening? Be sure and say hello. Tell me where you're from. Hey, Jameson. And be sure and like and share the video, because you could, if you share the video on your page or somewhere, you're going to be in a drawing for a prize that I announced the next week. So the prize for last week goes to, let me switch my cameras here. Give me 1 second. And I will change my mics. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. I'm going to hide myself. And so the prize is this piece. This is a glass dish that I did many weeks ago on a live. It's an enamel pour on an ivory colored glass, and then I put it on a black. Okay, so we had 8 people that shared the video, and the winner of this piece is Paulette Lozano. So you won this glass piece. So Jenny, if you'll write that down so I remember to ship that out to her. I better put it someplace it's not going to fall. Okay. I also want to talk about, this is a ceramic piece I showed you last week. I've posted it. I'm having a Zoom class on August 21st or the 22nd. It's $24.95 for the class. You get the packet with the class. If you choose to buy a kit, there's 3 different kits available on the website. And Jenny is going to put those links into the chat. So there's a link to actually sign up for the Zoom class, and then there's a link for 3, and I'm trying to get it to show up on my deal here. And there's 3 different kits available. Okay, one that's the whole thing that includes the bisque, the paint, the brushes. The other is just the paint if you already have brushes, and then there is one that is just brushes. So there's different ways. There's 20% off on those kits. So even if you don't need, or you're not going to take the class and maybe you just need some color, it's a way for you to get that at a discount. Okay. So just FYI, and I'm trying to find the link and I cannot find it on my little dashboard. So anyway, so 2 different times. It's at 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. I don't think it'll go 3 hours, probably 2 hours, but if that interests you, you can sign up for that class. There's still time for me to get supplies out to you. All right. Okay, so tonight I'm going to show you how I did this piece here. I'm using a combination of color strokes, which is the taller Slender bottles, and the color concentrates, which is the smaller ones, okay, on this piece. So I'm going to do some watercolor background, and then I'm going to do the flowers. Did you have a question, Jenny? Okay. All right. So I put out on the blog, it's called Peony Pattern. It gives you the pattern. I've listed all the colors and the brushes. Okay. And then you'll have the video from tonight. I am going to do, like I said, a smaller piece, but that will be available for you. Okay. So I'm going to do it on this smaller little sushi plate. So in case you don't know, what you do is you put the pattern underneath a piece of tissue paper, and then take a pencil and you will draw around your pattern. Then you're going to take that tissue and your Statler Tri-Plus fine liner, and you're going to trace over those lines, and it comes through. Now you can also just sketch directly on the piece. So it was really faint, so I went back over it so that you guys could see it clearly during the video. All right, so that's how I did that. One other thing real quick I want to do at the beginning, and then you have time to think about it. I have five, yes, I have 5 kits made up, and these are color concentrates. They are 2-ounce bottles. They're from previous classes that I did where I've had multiples, anywhere from 5 to 10 bottles open of the same thing. Most of these bottles are 3/4, if almost not full. They retail anywhere from $7.10 to $8.10, and I'm offering, so it's over a $35 value, especially if there's a red in there, it's more. All you need to do, they're on sale for $22.50. All you've got to do is comment and the bag number. So this is number 5. I just grabbed them out of order. Comment and then put your email in there so that I can email you an invoice through PayPal. Okay. So this one here has got 124, 136, 6. So it's got a purple, an orange, a yellow, a dark green, and the Cabernet color. So this is number 5. If you're interested in that, just comment bag 5 and your email. Okay. We'll go backwards. So here is number 4. This has got, here's your colors. It's got the 164 Mountain Pine. It's got 32 Deep Cranberry, 36, I believe it was, Purple Sage, 150 Light Cerulean, and Curry. And this is number 4. So these are $22.50 if you're interested. Okay, just put a comment in there, and Jenny will write them down. Okay. All right. This one is, they're out of order. Sorry, guys. I'm just grabbing them. This one is number 1. It has a sapphire, a cranberry, a lemon peel, a French lilac, and a red geranium. So this one would be more than $35 value. And like I said, most of these are practically brand new. They hardly have anything out of them. So this is number 1. So comment if you want number 1. And your email, or you can message your email. But what's weird is the way they show up on our end is who's going to get it. Okay, so whoever Jenny sees first, that's who's going to get it. And then when I'm done talking, I'm going to ask her to read off who gets what. Okay, so this is number 2. This has got a yellow, an orange, a red, a lighter green, and a darker green. And this is number 2. Yes. Okay, 5 and 1 are gone. Okay. All right, so this is number 2. And these are 2-ounce bottles, remember, not the 1 ounce. The 1 ounce is the smaller ones. So these are going to last you. If you're doing a lot of stamping, even on the bisque, or if you're stamping on glass, it's a good way to pick up some of those colors at a discounted price. All right, and the last one is number 3. And it's got a white, a cerulean, and it's got all 3 of the blush Cabernet, and deep cranberry. So 30, 31, and 32. So this one is number 3. Okay. All right. So I see a number 1 and a 5. And do you see number 2? Okay. Okay. So number 3. And this one is number 4. I'll show them one more time, just in case. 3 is gone. Okay. 3 is gone. I have more of these, guys. That every week I'm going to do this. You would not believe the hundreds of bottles I have open. When I was teaching and on the road, it was amazing. Anywhere from 5 to 10 of each one. Okay, so number 4 is still available, and it's gone. Okay, so those are gone. We're done with that. All right, and then we've got a couple of pattern packs to give away tonight. And what else did I tell you, Jenny? I'm trying to remember. I think that was it. Oh, yeah. Medium Sumi brush we're going to give away. So be sure and comment. You'll get in the drawing for that. Okay, so everybody understands I'm using the Statler Tri-Plus Fine Liner is what I'm transferring the patterns with. Okay. Okay, so Jenny is going to tell me who got number 1. Janet Gothard, Gothard, got number 1. Number 2, Patricia, is it Calicott or Collette? I know who she, yeah, Calicott from South Carolina. Okay. All right. I can bring that to you or I can ship, either one. Okay. So number 3. Okay. Brenda, Breighner. Sorry, we may be butchering your name. No, it's hard to know how to pronounce them. Okay. Number 4. No, Janet. Okay. Number 5. Pam Fagan. Okay, so all of them are gone. Watch for the next week. I may even come on over the weekend and have 5 or 10 more bags. So I will announce, I'll put a little thing up like I normally do that I'm going to go live and I'll tell you what I'm doing. I just need to kind of clean house and get rid of those. If they're sitting there and not being used, they're just going to waste. So not that they're good. Don't get me wrong. It's just I will never use that many with not teaching 3 out of 4 weekends a month like I used to. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is use the medium Sumi brush, and I'm going to take 3 different blues in the color stroke line. These are more opaque than they're like an opaque underglaze. Okay. I'm using 644, 52, and 43, and these are all listed on that pattern sheet. And I'm going to work from light to dark, and I'm going to create a wash of color. I don't need a whole lot of any of them. So I'm going to put some color out, and then I'm going to fill the well with water. Always make sure you shake those colors well. Okay, and then I've just got water in a little bottle, and I'm going to fill that well up with water. I think you can see that. Yes. Okay, let me zoom in just a little bit closer. Whoops, too far. Okay, I still want you to be able to see this guy here. All right, so I'm just going to stir with the handle of my brush. And right now, as far as that blue flower Zoom class, we don't have a lot in it, so it's going to be a really good time if you're new to the product. This would be a good time to get in there, just because there's not a tremendous amount of people, and you're going to, and look what I just did, I spilled it. You're going to get more attention in those classes because it's not large. Okay, told you I'm not feeling good tonight. Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to start with the blue. Remember that when you make a wash, the color is heavier than the product. So it is going to fall to the bottom of the well. So keep it stirred up with your brush as you're using it, and then take a little bit off because you don't want it to have a lot. You don't want it dripping all over the place. So I'm just going to go through here and everywhere, just kind of here and there. And since I already dropped some there, and I am going to try to stay off my pattern. If it gets on the leaves, it's okay, but if it gets on the flower, and remember I've got 3 colors I'm going to put in this background. Okay, so I'm going to go into the second color. I'm stirring it up. I did not rinse my brush, and I'm just going to, I call this my slip slap mush mush. So I'm not sitting down and going like this because you get little rabbit tracks, I call it. I am bouncing the brush and keeping it and constantly turning it in different directions so that you don't get a pattern. Okay, and then this is the darker blue, which is really strong, so you don't need a lot of it. I'm just going to kind of hit the edge here and there with that. If you get an area, I'm going back to the middle color. You get an area you don't like, I'm going to show you how to fix it, okay? So constantly bounce, move it around. You can overlap those colors. So this just gives you a watercolor background. Can you do this technique on glass is the question. It's if you do it on glass, you're going to be, let me think about that. You don't want to use water. I have the video out there on YouTube that is the toucan, the watercolor background for the toucan, and I used enamels and I sprayed the glass with water and then applied the enamels. So it's very similar to that, but I would not these products. Okay, these are opaque underglazes. They have a touch of clay, and they have the pigment, and then they have some glaze in them. So you would have to substitute a product that would work on glass. Okay, so I would not. As far as this whole technique, I would say no, not right now. No, you never know in the future what I'm going to tell you. But don't, because of the amount of clay that's in these, which is very little, but you still, and I'm just going back and forth between the different colors is all I'm doing. I'm going to grab, see how I'm just touching, making sure I get down in between. I'm assuming everybody can hear me okay since we got through the colors there. Got a hair. If you have a hair come off, you can wait till it dries if it comes off onto your piece, and then you can take your finger and roll it out. Okay, so let me add a little bit more of this dark in here and up around the edge. Okay, so I'm going to rinse my brush just with clean water in my brush. Like here I've got a spot and a spot. I can just come back in and just soften that, and I'm just got part of that. I'm not pushing all the way down. I've just got the tip of the brush, and I'm just going to kind of fade that out so it's not really standing out like a sore thumb sticking out. Okay, so if you've got something you don't like, just go back. Now occasionally you're going to have to rinse your brush, take most of the water off. Okay, any questions, Jenny? Okay. Yeah, and Sue's wanting to know how to sign up for the Zoom class. So just real quick as I'm touching this up, on the website at the top in the blue bar, it says education. And then click on that, and then it says Zoom webinar, and you go to that page and you'll see both classes listed and pick the date you want. Click on that. It goes to the product page for it, and then you can purchase it there. You may have to sign in. It may say you need to sign in to your account. And then after you purchase it, you need to save your email because it has your Zoom link. But that Zoom link is also in your account on the Colors for Earth website. And you would just have to go into your account and look under Zoom meetings, and your link will be there. But if you have trouble, definitely contact me via Messenger or email, and I'll get you a link. I think, Jenny, can you pop in that link for the classes, and maybe she can't find it? Okay, so once you click on it, so you've got to click on the date on which one you want, and then because that's just showing you the two listings, and you need to go into the actual one you want, and then make sure you, yes, okay, that may be the problem. You have to, and if you're a new customer, you will have to create an account. So that may be the other, and that's the only way we can do it so that you get the link. Okay. Now, what I did on the back of this one was do the same thing. I just mushed all over the background. Okay. I'm not going to take time and do that. All right. So you see how easy that is to do. And like I said, if you don't like something, just come back with some water and soften it. I'm not worried about the leaves. It's just the petals where the white is going to be is the only thing. And I'm just scooting it off. If you mess around too much with it, it will start fading your marker out, but just be cautious. I mean, it'll be there. And the marker tends to bleed into the color, So don't freak out if you see blue around, like a halo around the pinks, okay? All right, so the first thing we want to do is our leaves, because they are in the background. I'm going to use 161 green leaf and 162 laurel. Again, shake those colors. And I'm going to put some out, and then I'm also going to add the clear glaze to it, the CSP 01 gloss medium, and I'll show you that. This is our clear glaze. So, and before, anyway, years ago, it used to just be a medium, but now it's our unleaded clear glaze. Again, make sure you shake that, and then I'm going to add a 50-50. And a lot of times with the darker colors, I'll add even more, because more like 3 parts glaze to 1 part color, because it's so strong. I tend to mix with my handle of my brush. I don't waste as much product that way, because if you mix with the hairs of the brush, it's going to get in the hairs, and you got to rinse it before you go to the next one, and you're wasting your product. This is wasting less. And the reason I'm putting the gloss medium into that is so that it glides, it moves better for me. And I will do this on the flower. We're going to do a different technique on the flower. Okay. So I'm going to take, you can do the 8 or the 10. I think I used the 10. I don't want to lie to you. Yes, I used the 10 square shader. This is a Kolinsky. You could do it with the round. Always dampen your brush. Get those hairs wet. It's kind of like when you're washing your hair. You got to get your hair wet before you put the shampoo in it, right? Same thing. Make sure there's no water on the ferrule so that it doesn't drip on to your piece. Okay. I'm going to, a lot of times I'll keep that sponge in the middle, and I tell you that in my packets. And also, if you don't want to take the webinar on that blue flower, you just want the packet and want to do it on your own, that is also on the website now, so you can find it. Okay. Let me, before I end up getting this into there, I'll take it off. Okay. So I'm going to fully load, meaning shampoo that brush with the lighter green color. Keep the writing of the brush towards you. And I'm going to corner load into that dark green. And then I'm going to blend, blend, blend. And then I'm going to re-corner light, re-corner dark, and blend again. A lot of times the first time I will do it twice. Okay. Now I'm going to turn that dark over because I want it down by the stem. And I'm just going to press and slide out. It's like a wedge stroke, and I'm going to load for each leaf so that I get the same color value. I turned it back over, put the dark down here on this end, and I'm going to press and slide out. So again, this is like a wedge stroke. Turn my brush over, and the more pressure you put down, the fatter the area will be, or you'll fill in a larger area. So less pressure, smaller strokes. Every time, load, press, pull, and lift. And you notice I'm doing it slow. I'm not doing it fast. Okay, we have a fire question. Yes, go ahead. Okay, Sue, are you talking about for porcelain and stoneware? Can you answer that for me before I answer? I think that's you. She works with a lot of clay and stuff. So tell me if it's, yes, you can use the 6. You can use the gloss medium at 06 if you spot glaze. So add it just like I've done here, and it will be gloss. Okay, so Sue is doing cone 6, and everybody that's doing regular ceramics, don't get it confused, okay? She is doing porcelain and stoneware. So she wanted to know, can she use the gloss medium when she's working in those higher fire glazes? Yes, you can. If you're going to just do a design and spot it and have that design turn out glossy, that's what'll happen, and then your background will stay your stoneware or your porcelain. I've done some really cute bunnies with flowers and leaves on it. So yes. you can. All right, so I'm rinsing that brush out, and I'm going to show you how to accomplish these long, slender leaves with using a number 4 round. This is our Kolinsky 5000 number 4. Again, all of these brushes are listed on that pattern for you. Same thing, I'm going to load with the light color, shampoo it up, get a nice point, and then I'm going to tip into the dark green. And I'm going to start at, you always start from where it grows from. Think of it 99% of the time. So I'm going to pull in, press, pull, and lift to a point. And I didn't quite cover that, so I'm going to just reload. And I'm going to pull another stroke over here on the other side. My air conditioner went off. I can hear better. I bet you guys can too. That was loud. Sorry about that. It's a hot day today in Texas. It's been awful. So press, pull, lift, lift, lift. Slightly, when you get to the tip, you just slightly turn, just an itty bitty bit to bring those hairs back together. Don't twist it into a knot. It's hair like hair on your head. And I'll show you again. I'm going to load with the light, tip into the dark, press, pull, lift, 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 slightly turn. Okay, now I need to do my stem. I'm going to just kind of basically block that in and pull it down. Any other questions?
No.
Lori, I still think you should be one. I am level 1 stroke certified, Lori, from Canada. I just don't have to. I've been doing brush strokes for 35 years. So in the ceramics industry, we call things a little bit differently than we do in the 1-stroke acrylic world. Okay, so on these bigger leaves, what I'm going to do is load the same way I did the little slider leaves or wedge strokes, but I'm going to do it in 3 different strokes that will create the veining for you. So you can kind of see the dark and the light. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then if I need one to come out on the end to fill in that point. Okay, so I'm going to grab that 10 again. You could do an 8. You can always resize the pattern. And you guys that don't do fired product, if you want to use that pattern for your acrylics, you can use it for anything. Just give me credit if you use it. That's all I ask. It's a free. I'm going to turn the dark over again. Okay. And I'm going to nestle it up as far as I can and just kind of come off. And I'm going to re-corner on both of those and tuck that in and do another one. Grab, and I'm grabbing color each time so that I maintain the same color value and come off. Now I'm going to turn my piece around and I'm going to push the strokes going on the other side. It really makes a difference on your strokes, how you're holding your piece. Normally, I put the point of the leaf towards me where I'm going to do a stroke, okay? And that makes a huge difference. All right, so let's just sit this one here and come out. So it's almost the same as these little ones. It's just that you're nestling them together. And yes, I went on top of my background. I'm not worried about that. I always paint larger than what my pattern is. And that got me in trouble a lot of times. Press and come off. Blend. Press and come off. I'm just going to grab what's here on my palette. There's quite a bit. Press and come off. So the lighter color is following the outside. I'm pivoting the brush as I'm coming around. The dark side stays near the center vein to create a darker vein. Okay. So you have to, and that's probably the most common mistake with any brush stroke. They're not watching. They go out sideways instead of pivoting that brush as you're going around. Press and lift, and I got a little spot there. Any other questions, Jenny?
No.
Okay. And some of you that are new, you may not know, Jenny's in the background remotely helping me. You can't hear her, but I can hear her, and I called her last week. She's a voice inside my head, so to speak, which is kind of scary. But anyway. All right, so while we've got the greens out, I'm going to take the 3600 number 2 liner. And all of these brushes are found on our website. And I'm going to load in the light and grab some of that dark and just kind of make a medium color there. And I'm going to go ahead and pull in the center vein. And I will, if you're new and you don't know, I will go back and answer questions at the end. It's hard for me to watch. That's why I've got Jenny helping me. And without stopping and taking time, I want to get the technique down, and then I'll go back and answer you later. All right. And even if I've answered it online, I usually put it in there because there may be somebody else looking through the comments and want the same answer, same question. Okay. I'm going to add just a little bit more of this darker color on that stem. It's a little bit darker. All right. We are ready for the flowers. This is going pretty quick. I need a drink. Hold on one second. Okay. So we're going to go back to the number 10. Okay. And I am using a natural hair. Kolinsky is like the hair on your head. A synthetic or a Taklon brush would look like this. It's kind of got a yellow waxy coating. It's a man-made, where this is a natural hair. So it's like the hair on your head. It's going to hold more color and carry the stroke further. Okay. So now we need to get out some new colors. And let me wipe off the center of my palette here. Any questions, Jenny?
No.
Okay, no questions. All right. You couldn't find me at first, Lucy? Is that what you're saying? Okay. Lucy won last week. All right, so now we're going to use white color stroke. Okay, so it's an opaque underglaze. And then I'm going to tip into color concentrates. We're going to use 130 and 132, blush cabernet and deep cranberry. So you can see the pinks, and then the darker, like burgundy type color is the deep cranberry. And I also outlined with the deep cranberry on here too. I did black on the leaves, and then I was hesitant on what to do on the flowers. And it's very unlike me to not do black outline, but I'm trying to try different looks. And so anyway, the consensus was, I sent it to a couple of people, and it was leave it with just the burgundy. Okay, so because I need these to be opaque in areas, oops, I moved that too far out of the way so you can't see it. I'm going to start with the white color stroke, fully load. Okay, this time I'm going to tip the whole chisel edge. This is the chisel edge down here. Okay, these are corners. This is the chisel on the end. Okay, the chisel is the flat right here. So I'm going to go down into the lighter pink, and then I'm going to corner in the darker pink. See all three of those on there? And I'm going to just touch it 1 or 2 times to blend it. We're going to start from the background and work forward. Okay, so I'm going to start out here. And when I did this, I did not have a pattern. I just started brush stroking. So I made your pattern after I got this out of the kiln today. And I'm just going to follow. And I'm going to go back and get white, the chisel in the lighter color, and corner. We have a question? Yes. So the question was, are these enamels or concentrates? We're working on a ceramic piece tonight. So these are ceramic colors, and I'm using color concentrates, and I'm also using some color strokes. You cannot use your color strokes on your enamels. You can, or on your glass. You can use the concentrates for things. So you could do just the white color concentrate, or maybe just pink. So there are ways to get around and do some of this, but not all of it, okay? See how I'm doing that? And I'm keeping the darker color to the same size, and I'm dipping generously, just kind of blotting it a couple of times, press and lift. So the more pressure you put down, the fatter the stroke is going to be, and it's going to blend the colors better. Okay. I think I've got enough white on here, so I'm just going to grab just those colors. I need more of that dark. See, I'm pressing way down, and I'm going to kind of just smooth that out because I'm afraid you don't want it too thick. Okay. Because it could, well, you're going to glaze over it. It shouldn't have it. I'm going to turn the brush over and make the dark color on the outside. And I'm just going to kind of, see, I'm just following the shape of the petal. Turned it over, press, pull, and I'm going to stop and lift. So I'm going to grab the pink, blush Cabernet, the deep cranberry, press, pull, and lift. So this is a little different than what we've done before. I'm trying to show you different things so that those of you that have the products, you know different ways you can use it. This is on 04 bisque. Okay, so now I'm going to turn my dark color down, and I've got the lighter at the top, and I'm just going to follow the shape of that petal. I'm really trying to stay in the pattern for you. I'm going to wipe out my excess because it was getting a little thick. Go back into my white. Chisel edge into the blush Cabernet. Corner load in the deep cranberry. Now, something you also need to know is when you're doing multiple colors on a brush, each color needs to be similar in consistency. If it's not, it's going to be hard to pick up. And I noticed that and usually your darker colors will be a little bit thicker. So I added 1 drop of water. If they're not the same consistency, you're not going to be able to pick them up, and you'll have less of that on there than you really think you do. Okay. Why did I move over? If I'm doing the background petals first and then moving forward is what I'm doing. So the question is why I moved over and did the petals. So it's because these are behind these. So I'm going to do this one, then I'll do this one. So one way, that brings up a good point. One way to figure it out is if you put your finger on like these petals, what lays behind it? This one. If you put your finger here, this one's behind. So you want to do the ones that are behind. If you think about, if you look down at your shoe when you're standing up, your shoe covers and then you see the floor. So the floor would be that other petal over here. Okay, these are going to come last. So we're going to do this one, then I'm going to go do this one, and then here, do the short one, the long one, and then I'll fill in with these. So hopefully that answers that question. Let me know if they say anything else, Jenny. Okay. So press, and then I'm just stopping when I get right to that petal. Now, if you're upset, you can take if you get onto a petal, you don't want it on there, take a sumi brush that's just lightly dampened with water and just push it back. There's enough inside the color strokes. There's enough glaze in there that you have what I call open time, and it allows you to manipulate and move the product around before it dries completely. Okay, this is the center, so I'm not, okay, so that's that big center here. I'm not going to be worried about it right now. I'm just reloading my brush for each one. And I'm going to do a couple of strokes here. I'm going to do a short one, and I'm going to do a longer one. Okay. And I'm just reloading. I'm not rinsing. I'm going to tap that side, and then I'm going to do this one over here. Question? Okay. And then we've got this little guy here, and it's just a little short one. So I'm just going to kind of touch and brush it in. We're going to come back on top of this. I'm going to take some of that off because I want the lighter colors to be on that tip. More of the white showing. So be sure, if you just joined us late, be sure and like and share the video. If you do that, you get a chance to be in a drawing. So each week I started coming back and telling you who the winner is from the week before. Okay. We have a question. Okay, so the question is, you're making sure, she says, that I have a good shade and highlight on each petal. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. And the way to do that is to make sure that you take anything off that you think is going to be in your way if you get too far down, or make sure that you've blended those colors also on your palette. Okay. So I'm just continually loading the same colors. I'm going to turn my dark over because I'm going to come down and to turn and come into this one. So press, pull, lift, 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 lift. Now I got a little bit on top of that other one with the white, but I'm going to come back. I just lightly pulled that off with the Sumi. I'm going to come back and we're going to shade all of these, shade the depth and get all the little shading down and around. We're going to actually add some dry brushing strokes, I call them, on top. Okay, any other questions? I'm going to jump over here to this side and I'm going to wait and do that center. And I'm going slow. Don't do quickly, okay? Follow, take your time so that you're within your pattern. It just makes it nicer. So I'm pushing down, see that, to fan it out to get the width that I want. And I've got a little bit of a build up there. So what I'm going to do is just take my Sumi brush and just lightly pull that down, just so if you get too heavy, you can get cracking. I'm not going to worry about that little piece in the middle because we're going to end up going over that anyway. Blend. And I'm going to turn so my dark is to the center. Press. And you know what? Your pattern is a guide. It doesn't mean that you have to stay exactly. So what I have to do is I would come back with, I got a dot of color in there, with my blues and just kind of make sure that I have it in all those little spaces so there's nothing white left around the edge. Because sometimes it's hard to make your brush fit, exactly. Now I'm going to come inside there with a little bit of that green because I don't want blue in there. And just touch that up. Okay. Now, the dark is in the middle here. So I just grabbed a little bit of the deep cranberry and I'm just going to kind of, with what's on my brush, I'm just going to kind of fill it in. And it can be kind of haphazardly. We have a question. Yes. Does the glaze and firing process help darken the colors? It does make them a little bit more vibrant. Correct. So you can kind of see, let me get it where you can see it right there. So yes, you'll see, and we haven't finished with them yet. Okay. I'm going to put more detail and stuff on them, but yeah, it brightens them up. And I'm going to show you a little technique at the end here so you can see what it's going to look like. Let's get this one on here real quick. I'm going to add the white chisel edge with the Cabernet, corner with the cranberry, and same thing again. You want to start on your back petals and come in, and I can go back and take off. If I've got enough in my palette there, I can just grab that. White, blush, Cabernet, deep cranberry, and pull in. Now, I probably should have pulled this corner one in first, and I didn't. So now I'm going to have to kind of squeeze it in there. Okay. Did you guys know that these on your bubble palettes, these little nibs that stand up, those are to lay your brush in between so your brush doesn't roll around. How many people knew that? I wonder. Yes.
Question.
I have a question. So the question is, do you fire this to 04 and then fire to 06? It's on 04 bisque. Okay, this is an old Mako small sushi plate that I used to use in retreats. I did fire this at an 06. So I painted it and I thought, just in case I don't like that outline with just the deep cranberry, I'm going to fire and set the color. So I went to an 06. Can you put it in an 04? Absolutely. If you've got a load of green we're going, put it in there. But you can clear glaze right over the top of this when we're done and fire it still and fire to your 06. So technically it can be either one. Now, if you put the glaze on it, you don't want to put it in an 04 firing. I'm going to add that dark in there real quick on the center, just kind of haphazardly, because I need to do the petals on top. So hopefully that answered that question. Hello, Miss Nell. I will be teaching at Nell Fair's shop on my way to the Columbia, South Carolina show. And I went way out of my line on that one. I told you I wasn't feeling good tonight. So I'm going to come back with a damp square shader, and I'm going to gently lift this back off of there. I don't want it on top of my leaf. Okay. So Ms. Nell, if you want to put your shop information into the chat, I don't have it on my schedule yet, but I will. I'm going to teach on the Tuesday night. Now, what is that day? 26th? We just talked about it and I forgot already. We're going to do a ceramic and a glass piece. I'm going to grab just that cranberry and that one there. Okay, isn't that pretty? So unlike acrylics, you can't layer and one color blocks out the other. You have to be kind of careful on what you're doing because you don't want it to show through. Okay, and I'll show you my mistake. I got in a hurry and my background, my strokes went out. Do you see that blue that's behind there? That's the background, and I should have pushed it off. Okay, so this is why I gave you guys a pattern. I was just winging it and doing it. So I show you things like that so that you'll learn and you'll understand why not to do it or why to do it. All right, so I noticed there's like a drip of blue here where I filled in or something. So I just went back with a damp brush to kind of clean that up. All right, so then what we want to do is I'm going to dry brush with the Stubby Brush. This is our Stubby. It's a mongoose hair, so it's a little stiffer natural hair, and it's a cat's tongue or a filbert type shape. So I'm going to clean out my center, and I'm going to grab the white with that Stubby Brush. Did you have another question, Jenny? No? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to grab that, and then I want to make sure there's no water in here because it'll make a difference. I did not dampen that brush, in case I did not say that. But I didn't on this one because I want a dry brush. So I'm going to kind of just fan it out. And this is the Opaque underglaze. This is the 602 color stroke white. Okay. So what we're going to do is I want it more white on the tips. So I'm just going to stay up on my tippy toes, and I'm going to kind of turn the piece so you can see it. And I'm just going to kind of feather and drag. And it's real hard to see that until it dries. I'm going to just go over here and grab what's on my palette. Feather, feather, feather. I think you can kind of see that one. Whoops, sorry. So it's just feather, feather, feather. It's just adding little, I mean, you could do this with a liner brush if you wanted, but it'd take you forever. So I'm just feathering that in to make those lighter edges of the petals. It just goes back and reinforces and brings some of that to the top. Just don't wet your brush before you do this. You want to do it with a dry brush. Key, dry brushing the color. And we're going to do this with the cranberries, but we're going to pull it from the other edge. And I'll probably just finish the large flower here, and then I'll do the other one off camera if we're running too long. I'm going to try to start keeping these to a shorter time so that you guys aren't bored with me. Any questions, Jenny? Okay, no questions. Be sure and ask if you have questions. Like I said, like and share the video to get in another drawing. We'll have a drawing at the end just by comments. But whoever shares the video will get into another drawing, and next week they will win this piece next week. Okay. So I'm using the color stroke white because it's more opaque. And I'll turn this to the side so you can kind of see. I'm up on the tippy toes and I'm just dragging that. It's just a feather. It's fine, fine little lines of white. As if you were using, you could use a comb brush, but any filbert will work. And I'm just turning, always pulling those strokes down towards me. I'm going to add a little bit more on there. Okay, I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to move on. I'm going to wipe that white out. I'm not going to rinse it. I'm just wiping the majority of that out. And I'm going to pick up the deep cranberry, the 132. And same thing, kind of work it into my bristles. And this time I'm going to pull out to deepen the shadows. And I think you'll be able to see that more. Let me zoom in just a little bit. See if I never get it the right direction. I need to put arrows on my camera. So feather, feather, and follow the direction that your petal is going. So it's coming out from here, so you're pulling it out. So this, I mean, could you do it without this? Absolutely. This just takes your painting to another level. You're adding more detail to it. I'm going to have to anchor my wrist here so that I can get down in here. So anybody can put just a color on an area, but you start adding all this and you get more depth, more dimension. And I thought you might enjoy knowing how to do that. Okay, so just pull. And this is deep cranberry, CC 132. Now, those of you that were asking about glass, if I were doing it in glass, I would probably use the layering mix with my enamel, and I would flood in my petals, and I would then come back like this with the concentrates on top to do my detailing, because the layering mix hardens, and I need to do a live on that. I think I will. I'll have that one coming up soon. I've got a couple of new projects I just sketched out last night when I wasn't feeling too well. So look for those. I have a lemon platter design that's going to have quite a few different things. I also am scheduling a class over at Art Glass City in Louisville, Texas. And I'm doing a little sampler type piece that'll cover many techniques. We don't have a date set yet, so watch for that announcement. And I'm also going to Tulsa to teach 3 workshops, a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday, and that is in mid-November. And I'll put all these on the calendar. We have a calendar at the bottom of the website. A lot of you may not even know where it's at. You've never seen it, but I will list everything on there. It'll have the addresses. You'll have to contact the studios for cost, because they set the cost. Okay. Any questions, Jenny?
No.
No questions. Okay. So see how that just adds more depth? I know it looks a little streaky at the moment, but it just, it just gives fine lines, like the veining in the petals that you see if you were to inspect a petal thoroughly. Okay. All right. So I am done with that. I'm going to rinse and we're going to sumi shade real quick. Now you would have to make sure that it is semi-dry before you start to do this. Okay. When you sumi shade, I'm going to pull this out and back my camera off so you can see the water bowl. Okay. Small sumi brush, water load, drag off the tip and turn it and drag, turn it and drag. So you get a point, it removes the excess. Then you're going to tip into the deep cranberry and you're going to tuck it where you want it. So I want this to be here. And you could do this before or after your little fine lines, either one. And I'm just sit it down, mush, 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 walk it to the right, walk it to the left. There's my little rap song, Miss Paulette. That's what she was asking me last week. So tuck it. I usually start in the center of the area and walk it right, walk it left. I'm going to come down here and do the same thing. And the reason I start in the center is because then one end isn't real dark, and then time you get to the other, it gets light, and you don't want that. You want to have it dispersed evenly. Center, walk it to the right, walk it to the left. If you don't like doing the sumi brush, you could always square shade and float the color on, water load, corner, and float it if you like to do that type of shading. But if you don't, and all you have is the sumi, this is why I developed these 27 years ago, was because people didn't have the money to buy a whole bunch of different brushes. And it's a way to use one brush for a lot of things. Okay, we have some questions. Okay, Lucy. Humble, isn't that down by Houston, Jenny? I think it's down on the north side of Houston. No, I am 5 hours from Houston. So I am northwest side of Fort Worth is where I'm at. So I'm tucking that color in. I'm getting it down in that little area and walk it back and forth. You got to take a little more care on some of these. And was there another question, Jenny? Janet wants to know if I'm going to do any ornaments, like show you ornaments on lives, or am I taking orders for ornaments? Is the question, Janet. And do you want to see paste ornaments or one stroke ornaments with acrylics, or both? So yes, I can do that. Go ahead. Did you have a question? Okay, she's reading the question. She's not a ceramist. Oh, is that Miss Linda? Yeah. You know what, Miss Linda? I am a guest teacher at the IADDCT, which is the Duncan Teacher um, event in January in Las Vegas. I just confirmed that. So, yes, I could do a class on the way back. That would be awesome. It would have to, I teach out there, I believe, it's either a Saturday or Sunday. So, let's talk. And yes, we can do a class. I'd love to come back out there. And that is the last weekend. Hold on one second, Linda. That's the last weekend in January that I'm going to be in Vegas. So it's around that time frame, which is not the best time to be going through Albuquerque or any of those places with snow. But I've done it before. So anyway, okay. Another question. The ornaments, yes. Okay, so some. Okay, so we had two comments when I asked what do you want to see on the ornaments. So I do the ones with the paste, and then I also do the ones with the acrylics, which is a non-fired, nothing I sell, one-stroke type ornaments. So we've had requests for both. So yes, I'd be happy to do those. also. And I do have a page, Facebook page that I haven't really promoted or told too many people about, but it's called One Stroke and More with Paula McCoy. And that does have all my ornaments there and all my fabric, my wood, canvas, whatever I've painted that is mostly non-fired. I did put even some items for sale on there of my pottery that I used to do in craft shows. Okay, so I've shaded around all those. I added a little bit more on the center. So every layer you add, you're making it darker and you're getting more depth, more shading. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Yes. Patricia wants to know if I'm going to do the butterfly ornament in the South Carolina show. Message me if you guys want to do one stroke type things in the booth for classes. I can do that. I just need to know how many ornaments to bring. Okay. So definitely message me on that. All right. Okay. So the next thing that we have to do is just add these little stamens around the center and some dots and then detail. Okay. So I'm going to use 623 Buttercup. I have cut the ends of my fingers, 2 different ones this week, or in the last week. Not fun. Yes. Did you have a question? No question? Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load with that green mix and tip into the dark green. And I'm just going to kind of make sure I don't have too much on there. Just kind of set the brush down and then pull. And let me zoom in closer so you can see that. And just make these so they're going different directions. Grab some of the light, grab some of the dark. You can even take a little bit of yellow on your brush if you want and pull. Touch and pull. And just make sure that they're coming from different directions because they don't all. I used to be told I had a hairdresser in my barnyard. I had a rooster one time that every hair on the tail feathers was exactly spaced out evenly. And I'm like, well, I kind of like my hairdresser. So I'm trying not to be as perfect, if you want to call it that, anymore. So, okay, and then pulling a few down here that you would see. And it really depends on how much you see showing. Your center may be a little bit different than mine. Touch, and then you lift and pull. Okay. It's just to kind of give it a little bit of character. I'll add 2 more there. Okay. Then I came back and you can use our dotting tool. This is 2 of them. We have multiples in there. So they're like a stylus. So they have different size balls on the end of it. And I'm going to take that yellow that I put out and I'm just going to add some other, and be careful not to touch. My product is really wet here. So don't push down too hard when you do this because what you'll end up doing is leaving an open spot. You'll actually pull the color off. So make sure that you're gentle. Don't be forceful with your dotting. You're just barely touching to that. Can I mention the name of the face? Oh, my one stroke one? Yes, it's called One Stroke and More. And Jenny can do her magic with Paula McCoy. She can probably go find it and give you a link to it. She's a tech wizard. We'll call her that. Do you like that name, Jenny? The tech wizard is on staycation this week. She is on vacation and came to help me tonight. Isn't that nice of her? Okay. All right. So now detail on top of your petals, and I'll just do a few real quick here. I'm going to take some of the deep cranberry, and actually I need pure strength, and that had I want to make sure it was pure strength, but I just want to make sure I've got enough of it here. And I'm going to use that 3600 number 2 liner again. I'm going to pull through it. It's like you're making little trees. Pull through and coat that brush. Remember, you're shampooing that brush and getting it back to a nice point. Okay? You don't want so much. And this is a well that's feeding down. Okay? And I'm going to turn the plate kind of sideways so you can see. This is the key here is don't just go around and then down and then try to put some lines in. It doesn't look natural. Okay. So if you don't take anything else from tonight's class, maybe this is that one thing that's going to make a difference in your painting. I'm going to push that back out of the way. Okay, you can still see me. So I'm going to come up the side, and then I'm going to come down jiggy jaggy, you know, kind of irregular, and pull down. You see that? Pull down. Let me get even closer. Oh, I did it again. All right, that should show you. So I'm going to start out here, and then if I want to make a little and go down. So come around and down. Constantly turn, and some of these are a little bit longer. It just gives you more character. And I did put these on your pattern. Now, that doesn't mean you have to follow that exactly. Be sure and tell me, Jenny, if I go off camera. Because I got it really. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. So Robin wants to know if I'll do a Zoom class on my ornaments. Absolutely. I will. I can get that one scheduled. I have some new designs, and I don't have it where I can show you. And for those, and Miss Lucy Matt, she's on here, right? Isn't she on him? Um, Miss Lucy had tagged me months and months ago on another board about Painting World that was going to do an article on ornaments. And Miss Lucy, guess what? I was selected to be in there. So in October, I believe is when that issue comes out. And I'll share that with you guys on one of these lives when I get a copy and know. But I have an ornament. It's like a Victorian type style ornament that will come out in that magazine. But I have a pansy design. And what was my other one? I'm trying to remember. There's been so much that's happened since that. That's been 5 or 6 months ago that I did those. So thank you, Lucy, for do what? Pam is asking if the ornaments are ceramic or glass. Actually, I'm using, you can use glass ones, but they are non-fusible glass. These are something that wouldn't be fired at all, okay? You could use ceramic ones, just have them base coated with something so it wasn't bare bisque would be my recommendation, but you could do the same thing. I'll have to see if I have any ceramic ones. I don't know that I do. But I will do, when I do a paste class, I will show how to use the paste on some flat fusible glass also. There's a little Christmas tree I did one year and gave out as gifts here in the local area to our glass group. That's been what, 3 or 4 years ago, Jenny, something like that. Yeah, something like that. So just see how I'm doing. It's almost like you're making a little L shape, but it looks so much more realistic. It gives you that ruffly edge. Um, Now, this is my style. You may have your own style. You know, what I say is if you learn one thing when you take a class, it was worth taking. You know, there may be something that, like that aha light bulb moment that, oh, that's what that other teacher meant. So, yes, did you have another question? The name of the magazine is called Painting World. She asked what magazine that was going to be in. And I'm sure they probably have a digital copy, but as soon as I know um, when it's out, I will announce it. Trust me, I'll put a link to it. It's pretty exciting. I haven't been published in a magazine in many years, many years. I don't remember what year it was in one of the Fire Arts and Crafts. I joke about it, and I'll have to get it and show it to you guys next time. Um, I was a centerfold and a cover girl all in the same issue with a snowman plate that I did that was ceramic. I joke about it. I thought that's the only time that I'll be that. It's kind of funny. I almost started to outline that one, and I don't want to do that. Okay, so I did the deep cranberry on that, and then I do the black on the leaves. And then it's done. Can you believe it? You can do the edge too, and I'll show you an edge real quick on here. How's our time, Jenny? How much? We got an hour? Oh, a little over an hour. Okay, I'll wrap it up here, guys. Promise. I know it gets long. Okay, so when you're doing these, it's step on the tippy toe, and I usually outline the other side that's not dark. And the reason I'm doing that is because you start, especially on the smaller ones, okay, you start getting too much black on there, it's going to overwhelm your design. And anytime you're designing something, you need to have 3 elements. So the background is one, and I need to probably whoops, oh boy, that's close. So your background is one element, leaves are another, and your flowers are another. So your focal point is the flowers, of course. Then you see the leaves, then you see the background. So you need to have 3 levels of your design. So keep that in mind if you're doing your own designing. Okay, that's the method to my madness. Something I learned many, many years ago. So center vein and just loosey-goosey. Sorry, Lucy. That's I'm from Missouri. That was just something we used to say. Very loose. And you can usually tell my pieces because all my leaves have a curl on the end. Any questions, Jenny, while I'm doing this? Okay, no questions. You guys are quiet tonight. So on this guy, I'm going to follow that stroke. And I did put the lines on your pattern, but follow your stroke. Okay, and then this is a larger one. And I'm just irregular, not trying to be exact, because if you're exact and then you don't get exact, it's going to stand out like a sore thumb. So I try to be loose about it, and then nobody will ever notice if I mess up. Haha. Okay. And then I'll show you how to do the edge. Center vein. Side. And I would do the same thing if I were doing it in acrylics. Okay, same technique. And I didn't put any black on the centers or anything. All right, let me grab my handy dandy. Everybody like these foam brushes? These are I just dropped a bottle of glue. I'm getting a little lazy Susan here. And I know I showed you the other day when I did one of the plates, how to do the edge, but I'm going to show you how you can do the same thing on this guy. Okay. So let's get rid of this one. And I use 644 for the edge. I'll have to come back and finish that other flower. So this is cornflower blue. And this is the cheap, I don't know how many you can get. They're like, I don't know, 20 cents or something. But they have a hard piece of plastic inside. They have a chisel edge. You want to stay on that chisel edge, just on the tip. You don't ever want to go back here. Okay, so I'm going to load this up, work it into my brush. And I'm going to stay right in the middle. And I'm just going to use the turntable, to just make sure I can glide. So it doesn't matter what the shape of your plate is. This is a good way to put a nice professional finish on that edge. And there again, it's going to make you a step above another person because you've taken time to make it. See how easy that is? I mean, you're just guiding it. And I'm not going back here because that hard plastic is in there. I'm just staying on that foam end. Don't use the ones that have the red handle because they're a coarser material. This is a finer. The other one has more holes in it, and it tends to pull off what you're putting on, okay? And you would just need to let this dry and go it around 2 to 3 times to make it opaque. As long as you stay right in the middle, hopefully you can see that. And I'm just going around it again. And because if you're right, and you can kind of see the indentation that's in there, if you're right in the middle there, then it's going to have the same amount of color on the top and on the bottom, and it makes that nice edge. Now let's see if I can get my fingers out of it. So you can't see it even on the back. You just see it on the edge there. Okay, so that's kind of a cool way. And it doesn't matter if it's a petal plate, a heart shape, diamond, it doesn't matter. That's all you got to do is go around it. Okay, and then of course you would sign your piece. And I signed with black, and I just like to hide it in a leaf. I'm going to take it off of this turntable though. And just, yeah, I'm going to put it over here. So just take that liner brush. And then I like to date my pieces. All right. All right. What'd you guys think about that? You like it? Thumbs up? Yes, no, maybe? Think about what you want to see next. I think that black background one that I showed you on that little candy dish, I forgot about it when I sat down to design this the other night. So I will do that one probably on the next ceramic live. Okay. Next week we will be glass. And I don't know what I'm doing, to tell you the truth. All right. So Miss Jenny, you ready to spin and give away some pieces? Okay. All right. So we're going to give away, this is the Peacock Vine. This is a pattern pack, detailed instructions, step-by-step photos for ceramics. Of course, you could use the pattern on glass. And actually, I did a free video on this a lot months back. So you've got the video out there to go by also. All right, Jenny, who wins this one? Spell for me. E-N-I-T-H. Enith Martin. Enith Martin. That's a new one. So Enith, I need you to message me your address, email, and that way I'll send you tracking. Okay. If you're going to order, let me know to hold it for an order. Okay. Otherwise, I'll ship it out. Usually I wait till the end of the week because a lot of people sometimes will order. Okay. The next one is for Black Elegance. This is a Magelica type technique, which is the same that I did on similar to this. So this is our black matte glaze. It's like a gunmetal almost. Isn't that cool? It's a matte glaze. And then I've used concentrates and color strokes on top of it for a Magelica or Myolica technique. All right, Jenny, who wins that one? Jan Frost. Okay, so if something happens and maybe you're a glass person and not a ceramic person and you want to swap it out for something else, just let me know. These are valued at $12.50. So if you're a glass person, you want to go pick out a different one for $12.50, I will let you do that. Okay, because I know we get a lot of crossovers in here. All right, and the last one is for the new medium Sumi brush. Not mine. It's well trained though. You might want it. Gigi, Miss Gracie. Gracie. I just shipped her stuff. Holy cow. All right. I got your address, Grace. So anybody that I don't have your address, be sure and message me. Okay. Let me switch back. Actually, before I do that, let me tell you one more thing, just in case you're not aware. We have charts out there on the website that shows the color concentrate. Okay, these are the color strokes. There are 62 colors plus a speck. The speck, it's like a clear speck that you add into a color, like into a yellow for bananas, or into a red for apples, green for leaves. I put it in red and did ladybugs with it. We also have our glaze flyer that's out there. These are all underneath the product manual at the bottom of the website. And then we also have crystals. We have dried crystals that you buy in a 1 ounce, and then you can add them to any of your glazes on the last coat. There is a video on doing this vase that one of our teachers, Phil Scalf, did. She's from the Phoenix Mesa area, Arizona. And then we have our lava stones, which are textural glazes, and you can put the color strokes underneath them, a darker color, and when the crystals pop open, you will see the colors. Like this purple vase has a dark blue underneath it, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of different products out there. Check those out. If you order any of these products, we always put the color charts in your order so you have a hard copy of them. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like. And then whoever shares the video, there'll be a list of you, and then I'll pick from that list who wins this plate. And I'm going to switch back to my camera if I can find myself. All right. It went away. Okay, I'm making sure I was muting my other cameras so I didn't have feedback. All right, guys, thanks for joining me tonight. Like I said, like, share, put any questions on there. You can always find these. It's on YouTube. We're going live on YouTube and Facebook at the same time, so you can always find it out there easier than through my feed, possibly. And I will share that also so that you know where to get it. So, okay, thanks, Den. Thanks, Lucy. And Linda from Albuquerque, get a hold of me and let's talk. We need to start setting something up now for classes so that I have a schedule. Okay. And I will let you guys know when I'm out of town in case orders can't be shipped. I am going out of town the end of the month for my best friend's wedding in Kansas City. So me and my little granddaughter, Finley, are making a 9-hour trip. That ought to be fun. So her dad thinks I'm crazy, but we're going to have a good time. So thank you, Jenny, for helping. And until next week, I'll see you then. Okay. Happy painting. Network error. That's not good. Can you tell if it's still live, Jenny? I can't tell if it's stopped or not. It's still spinning. I'm not sure that it's disconnected yet, if you're still on here, Jenny.
When kids have all the right supplies, they can turn an ordinary afternoon into an outdoor adventure or a spontaneous.
And Facebook at the same time, so you can always find it out there. Find these on YouTube. We're going live on YouTube and Facebook at the same time, so you can always find it out there easier.